the introduction. There we go. Here we go. So hello everybody. We've just started the recording and we're looking at this photo here. Now this is the second time we've looked at this. But hopefully for you guys who are here today, this is the first time you've seen it. So can anyone identify this drawing? I gave you a little clue before. Now, do you remember what I said? Do you know who drew this drawing? Who made it?
Ah, Leo, Leonardo da Vinci.
Spot on. That's it. Pretty much, yes. Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo
Da
da
Vinci.
Vinci. That's it.
Um,
Okay.
mm.
Um, and so you can see he clearly has the skill of an artist, doesn't he? This chap here, and he's Europe, well, I would say world famous, and definitely probably everyone in Europe knows that name. Interestingly, so this is his, I believe this is his handwriting up here. Anything you'd like to mention about his handwriting up here? Any comments about that? Does it look okay to you? Let's look at, so that's the top of this drawing. At the very bottom, there's some more handwriting. Does that look okay to that drawing there? That writing, I should say. Anything you want to ask about it?
Is it is it not English, right?
I would guess it's Latin, but I don't know for certain.
Ah,
So this is
Latin.
500 years ago, and I'm guessing he would have this is written in Latin, but I can't really see the words. So,
Hmm.
but it might be
It
Italian, which is a late Latin of some sort.
looks like a
Hmm.
picture.
Oh, down here is the picture. Yes, that's it. Well,
Oh no,
what
I'm
you
the
might
writing.
notice. Oh, let me just explain then.
Handwriting.
So
Hmm.
with the handwriting up here, I'm sort of half guessing. I've not researched this, but if you notice, the words on this the words up this end here end pretty much. They're almost in a straight line here, aren't they? Whereas the words on the other side are not sort of level, are they? Which is a little unusual because normally you start writing from this end and the words are all lined up. So let's look at the bottom. Is it same down the bottom? They're almost
Mm.
in a line down here, almost perfectly in a line, and they're not. They look a little bit more raggedy at this end. So for whatever reason, it appears he started writing on this side and is writing in this direction. In other words, in the wrong way. In Europe, we write from the left to the right, and he is writing from the right to the left. Does that make sense?
Sounds like my language.
Ah, okay. So that is sort of in Europe, that's what we do.
Oh
We
no,
write
hang
from the
on.
left and go to the right.
No, not
And if you
really.
look at that S there, that S is back to front. I'm assuming it's an S. It might not be, of course. And if you look at sort of vaguely at the letters, it looks all back to front. And I think I'm right in saying that he was rather secretive and he tried to write everything in code. And I'm guessing he wrote back to front to make it hard for others to understand what he was writing, to keep it secret. Okay, so he was quite an unusual guy, but a bit of a genius. So let's carry on then. That's the fun over. So I might be wrong about what I've just said, but I have a feeling I'm correct. So anyway, so this is more about the drawing in the middle. So that's the drawing there. Let's go up to the title. So here we go. Let me read the title to you once again. So a dentist discovered a hidden code in Leonardo da Vinci's most famous drawing. So they're describing this as his most famous drawing, and I think it probably is. But he's famous for a whole series of drawings, and everyone calls him Leonardo da Vinci. But really, the da bit is basically of. That means of, and Vinci is where he came from. So it's basically saying Leonardo of the town Vinci. That's really what his name is. So it's not a proper name as such, you might say. But that's what everyone, basically most people refer to him as. Okay, so, and just below that title I just read out, it says this little bit here. So, a third shape hidden in the infamous Vitruvian man drawing suggests an even deeper understanding of human anatomy than previously known. So they're saying the little drawing we're just looking at with that man in a circle and a square, they're referring to that as the Vitruvian Man drawing. So, and that's what most people refer to it as the Vitruvian Man. So, Vitruvian was a man who lived about 2,000 years ago, or slightly less than that, I think. But we'll come on to that, I think. Okay, so that's the drawing again. So, Yayoi, are you okay to read a little bit here? So, about this Vitruvian Man. So, just do the best you can, if that's okay. I can see the word Vitruvian right there as well, so that's a word that will come up. So, if could you read this little bit here in blue? Is that okay, Yayoi?
Yes, from
Great.
art,
Yes, art by its nature.
art.
That's it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Let me try this. Art, by its nature,
Mm,
often leads itself to multiple readings or interpretations.
mhm,
What one takes away from a work of art depends on just on what the artist brought to it when they sat down to put pen to paper or paint to canvas, but what the observer brings to the piece when they look upon it. Excuse me.
mhm,
That's precisely what happened recently when a British dentist took a look at one of the most iconic images ever drawn. Oh, sorry, ever drawn. Leonardo da Vinci's Vitu, Vitruvian Man.
mm.
Hmm. The last
O-
word I
o-
can't really pronounce
yes.
perfectly. Vitruvian.
So that's the name of this drawing below. That's what this drawing is
Ah,
called. So
I
what I
see.
said was this is Vitruvian.
Vit,
Vitruvian.
Vitruvian.
Mm.
Vitruvian.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yes. So there's two V's and it makes it slightly tricky, I guess. So do you want
Hmm.
to say it just once more? So Vitruvian. Vitruvian.
Vitruvian. Vitruvian.
Yeah, you pretty much got it, I would say. That's it. It was a little bit more practice, but you'll get it, I think. Okay, that's
Thank you.
pretty good. Good reading, actually. Very good reading. So, anything you want to ask about that? Does it make sense to you? Is there anything there that is a little bit unclear? Yeah, you
Yes. Mm, Taozawa. I'm still thinking what this really means.
okay?
Like a what? One, two, three, four. Uh, it starts from the fourth line.
Mm-hmm.
What the observer brings to the piece when they look upon it. What the observer brings to the piece when they look upon it. Now
Yeah.
I have begun to understand. So
Okay.
observer is like observer should be a person or should observers should
Mm.
be a people who
Mm.
look at this picture
Mm.
or
Mm-hmm. Like you
and
and me as we look at it.
yes,
Yes.
mm, and means what we would think about when we look at this or look at this picture.
Yes.
Is that oh
That's exactly
good?
it. Yes. That's it.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. Now I I can um
Take it
I
in a
can
little better.
understand,
Mm.
figure out. Yes, take it. Yes, better.
Okay. So let me
Mm,
read the whole thing back to you and try to
thank
listen to
you.
the meaning, try to draw out the meaning. And I think you really have largely. So here we go. So I read the whole thing back. So from the top line down then. So art, by its nature, often lends itself to multiple readings or interpretations. And that little bit there is really what you've just said, I think. So if something is open or to multiple readings or interpretations, that it's really saying that there's lots of different ways of looking at it and seeing what it's trying to say, or trying to see what its meaning is. So there's many different ways of looking at art. If you look at some numbers, well, there's probably one way of looking at a single number, isn't it? Really? Oh, that's number four. There aren't that many interpretations of the number four, one would imagine. But with a piece of art, there's so much more to it. You could say draw something from the colours, or the way the thing has been drawn, or on the paper it's been drawn, or how old the drawing is. There's lots that to be deduced from it, or taken from it, or enjoyed. And that's really what you're saying, I think, there, isn't it? So multiple readings. So multiple means many, really, doesn't it? So many different readings or interpretations. So an interpretation really is the same thing as a multiple readings, really. So, with languages, when you interpret one language into another, there's probably several different words you could use sometimes to explain something. Lots of different words, and you're basically saying pretty much the same thing, but not exactly the same thing. Okay, if I carry on from here then. So, what one takes away from a work of art depends not just on what the artist brought to it when they sat down to put pen to paper or paint to canvas, but what the observer brings to the piece when they look upon it. So the artist, I think this is saying, may draw one thing, but when you look at it, you may see one thing, but if I look at it as a different observer, I may see something slightly different. And if you're from Japan and you have one sort of upbringing and experience in life, and someone from Europe looks at something, that's almost an ideal circumstance, ideal situation where two different, two completely different impressions will be drawn from from that one drawing. It's one drawing with many different views, I think is what you're trying to say there, isn't it? So that's precisely what happened recently when a British dentist took a look at one of the most iconic images ever drawn, Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man. So Vitruvian Man, that's the name of this drawing just below, as we just said. And Leonardo da Vinci made that drawing, apparently. When it says iconic, it's another way of saying one of Leonardo's most well known. Most people would probably give the name or be able to describe this drawing and say, oh, that's one of Leonardo's most famous or best pieces of work. Okay. So when you're reading there, I noticed only a couple of words which might have sort of pronounced slightly differently. The only word I really sort of noticed, particularly, I suppose, really, to be honest, was this one up here. I think you said often, often, I should say, and that's good
Yes, I
enough.
did.
But I think probably only about 30 to 20% of people say it that way. The other sort of 70 or 80% of people say often. So a lot of people
True.
don't pronounce the T, interestingly. I think often, often I do, but often most people don't.
Mm. I
Um,
have a
yeah,
question about
yeah,
this word actually,
go for
because
it.
I I used to say it often, but when I came here and my
Mm,
husband is from your country,
hmm.
and he calls it like often rather than
Yes,
often. So I
yes,
just
yes.
copied it because I thought it's probably easier for English speakers to
Mm,
understand by listening to it, to this word in
mm,
particular, um,
Well,
often
yeah, that's
or
okay.
often instead of often. But I think you're right. So which is better actually? I'm not sure. maybe it's from his I don't know. Maybe
Mm.
he's from north. He's from the north of
Hmm.
England. Maybe it's probably his, what do you call it? Like a
His
dialect?
dialect, yeah, okay.
Maybe. Hmm.
I think it's
I'm
also
not sure.
how what people are used to. If they're used to saying
Oh,
pronouncing it one way, perhaps their family or their area says it's pronounced it that way. That way. But
yes.
I would say
I would think
probably
so.
about 80% of people miss out the
Hmm.
T,
Hmm.
but and
Hmm.
20, maybe slightly more than 20% of people do pronounce the T. So but
Hmm.
it's acceptable and people
Hmm.
understand there's a slight difference there.
Yeah, I could say like
Mm.
sometimes often. So I
Yes.
don't know. It's like it
Well,
depends on the mood.
mm. I would say just
Yeah.
copy others. If you're, depending on who you're with, just copy the way they speak as best you
Hmm.
can. It may be, you may
Okay.
notice early on how they speak and just try to copy them and basically just fit in with how they say things, I think.
Yeah, sure.
That's probably that's the best advice.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Hmm.
And maybe this word here too. So
That's
do you fancy just
drawn.
rereading that last last paragraph there? And so the tricky
Sure.
word was Vitruvian. Vitruvian.
Vitruvian.
That's it.
Yes.
So that little bit again there.
Uh, yes, let me try again. Um, that's precisely what happened recently when a British dentist took a look at one of the most iconic images ever drawn, Leonardo da Vinci's Vi- Vitruv Vitruvian Man.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You had that's it. You got it. By the
Oh
end, you
my.
had it. That's it. You had it. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, that's so tricky.
So you've
Um,
got this virtue. I think this is probably a good way of remembering it. So virtue. Can you see like there's sort of a true there, isn't
true.
there, in the middle? So that's really what you're saying.
Ah,
Vitruvian. Vitruvian.
Vitruvian,
Vitruvian.
Vitruvian,
Mm.
Vitruvian. Oh, thank
Uh,
you.
okay, you've got it. But you
So
presumably won't
hard.
come across this name or word again before ever again, unless you regularly uh, look at art, I guess.
No,
So
but
there was
now
a man called Vitruvius,
Vitruvius.
and he wrote about this. He wrote about this,
Mm.
and now this drawing at the bottom of the picture is now referred to as Vitruvian Man. It isn't a picture of Vitruvian or Vitruvius, but it's just got that name now.
Does it mean anything in English?
It's
Like a
somebody's name.
Vitruvian.
It's somebody's
Oh,
name.
that's somebody's
Vitruvius
name.
was his name, and this is named after him, so it's now
Ah,
called Vitruvian. He was called Vitruvius, and so we now call it
Vitruvius.
Vitruvian.
Oh. Mm.
So just to get back to the little bit that you read, I noticed in a couple of places just slightly, and this is sort of the opposite of what we were saying up here. So up here we're saying about you sort of said the T and it's often quiet, it's all silent even. Elsewhere, there was just a slight tendency for you to sort of lose the T a little bit when you said when there was a T, you sort of went a little bit too quiet when there was a T in other places. Does that make sense? Um, I think I'm a little bit. This I'm a bit of a fault of this as well, in that I sometimes miss out the T towards the end of words as well. Um, yeah, and I think a lot of Londoners do that. So
Thank you. I
just be aware the
haven't
T
really.
is you're just missing it. Some of the T's die a little bit at the ends of the words. You would tend to notice there are quite a lot of T's towards the end, aren't there? I'm sort of highlighting them now, aren't I? So dentist, etc., etc. Um, and maybe the N in drawn, I think, went a bit quiet too. The very first time we read it out, but only slightly, only sort of 10, 20% a bit on the quiet side. So you were saying it, but you were just going a little bit too quiet. So
Mhm.
that's it. So this is the past tense of draw, isn't it? We put an N on the end, makes it into the past tense. Drawn. Okay.
Wrong.
Okay. So anything else you want to ask about there at all, Yayoi?
Not really.
Mm,
terms of my comprehension by reading, um,
yeah.
I am
Yes.
quite aware of
Okay.
the meaning
Okay.
of these sentences. So,
So,
mm,
okay. So, what is canvas? When it says canvas, what does that mean?
canvas is a
Mm,
place or we put paper or like another paper to
hmm.
draw
Okay.
pictures.
Is where you put it.
Mm.
Okay.
But I
So,
think it's
mm.
like yeah, it's actually canvas is Japanese too.
Oh, that's
We know
interesting.
what it is actually. We
Okay.
have already imported the word
Okay.
into Japanese,
That's interesting.
so we know what it is. So like when we
S-
paint, we use the
Yes.
canvas. So canvas
Yeah.
to draw on a paint on, mainly
That's it. Yeah.
paint.
I think
Yes,
that's
not
it. Yes. So,
drawing.
so I would
Mm.
say, so with, so canvas in this context is a surface on which a paint is applied to make a picture, something like that.
Mm.
Canvas.
Mhm.
Another use of canvas, probably all the canvas that has been made in the world, probably most of it has been used for sailing ships. So the
Oh,
sail of a
really?
ship is made out of canvas. So it's a very hard wearing, very rough material.
Mm.
And that's what's used. And even occasionally, I think probably canvas was used to make sailors' trousers or breeches. So a sailor might be wearing canvas trousers. So
Mm.
in olden days, not perhaps nowadays, but perhaps 150 years ago, they might be wearing canvas trousers. Okay, yeah, that's it. That's it. So it's a material used as a surface to paint on. That's it. Well done. Does anyone else have any questions about this little bit here? It's only a very small bit, isn't it?
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Or any other questions from anyone? Okay, so let's scroll on then. Okay, so that's that drawing we saw that a little while ago. And we notice there's this circle around here, and that his fingers are just touching the edges of the circle, and whilst his feet are sort of standing on the edge of the circle, and he somehow fits inside a square too at the same time, somehow. So, okay. And it's dated here for 1490, so it's a little over 500 years ago, isn't it? So, Yoshi, are you okay reading the next section just below there? And it starts out with a familiar image. A familiar image.
Okay.
Thank you.
A familiar image to most today. Leonardo's Vitruvian Man was drawn by the artist in 1490 after he was inspired by the writings of the Roman architect Vitruvius. In
Hmm.
the work, the Architectura, translated as on architecture, Vitruvius mused on the symmetry of the ideal human form, pointing to the navel as the central point of the body from which all else extends. For if a man be placed flat on his back, he wrote, with his hands and feet extended, and a pair of compasses centered at his navel, the fingers and toes of his two hands and feet will touch the circumference of a circle described therefrom. Uh, but this was not the only shape that Vitruvius noticed could fit the human form. Should I read the image as well?
Well, let's leave it for the moment. Maybe come back to that one a little bit down here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that was good reading. Very good reading, just as Yayoi was. That's a very good reading. So, any words there that a little bit not clear what they mean, or anything else you want to go back over?
Uh, let's see. Virtuous. Oh, okay, so the image was inspired by.
Hmm.
So there's a architect called Virtuous, and
Yes.
Leonardo
Hmm.
uh
That's it.
drawn the
Yes.
picture based on the Virtuous.
That's it. Yes.
Okay, okay,
Inspired. That's it. Yeah. That's it.
okay. Virtuous mused on the symmetry.
Hmm.
Symmetry, maybe.
Symmetry.
Yeah.
So symmetry here is, if I go back to that drawing, if I go up a little bit. So, whoops, went too far. You could say, if I draw a line sort of down the middle of this man here, there's a symmetry from the left side to the right side. So what's exactly on the left side? It's sort of like an exact mirror image on the right side.
Oh,
So if you think the face is symmetrical, you might say you've got one eye one side and the other eye the other. And if you draw a line down
okay,
the
okay,
nose, one half your nose is exactly the same as the other side, or pretty much the
okay.
same. So that's
Yeah, I think
symmetry. That's it. That's
okay.
symmetry. Yeah, about that
Yeah, I think
middle
we
line.
also imported this word to Japanese.
Yes. Okay.
What we call symmetry.
Oh, it's very similar.
It's
Symmetry.
it's kind of similar, but it sounds like
Different.
it's kind of Japanese English, so it's sound
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. That's interesting. It sounds very similar to me. That's it. Yeah.
And what does mused on mean?
So mused, thought about, just thought
Oh,
about something. But when you often use mused if you're thinking about art, something artistic. So an artist might look at something and that he's going to draw, and he will muse. That would be his muse. That's his inspiration to make a piece of art. Does that make
mm,
sense? So he
I
looks at
see. Okay.
something, and that is his muse, and that gives him the inspiration to make a piece of art. It may be an exact
Mm,
copy, or it may be something completely different, but something in that thing gave him the an idea that he could put into another drawing or painting or piece of artistic work. It could be a
so,
poem as well. It could be a poem,
mm,
something artistic, or music, I guess too.
so it's kind of inspired from kind
Yes,
of.
that's it. Yes, I suppose the idea with mused is a little bit more when it's inspired. I suppose it's is this idea of something exciting and
Mm, mm, mm,
is a little bit more power in it, I suppose. But with the muse, it sounds more, it sounds longer, it sounds more thoughtful, more developed. There's a little bit of
mm, mm,
something
mm,
slightly different, and sometimes another person might be a muse, and sometimes when an artist has a muse, that person can be their lover, and
mm, mm,
sometimes
mm, mm,
it's a
mm.
way of saying that person was their lover. It could be man or female, of course. Yeah.
I see. I see. Okay. Uh, what else? Let's see.
So what's a navel? Is it or the navel? What's that? Pointing
Pointing
to
to
the navel.
navel. Navel is it's. I know it's the some body part,
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
but I
Which part?
don't know where.
Ah, well, there's a drawing up here of a person, and I noticed it did have a navel. So, whoops, gone too high. So, is that little dot there sometimes called your belly button? Most people would say your belly button, I suppose.
Okay.
So that's it. Where your umbilical,
So
umbilical.
belly button is navel.
That's it. Same meaning. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Right. Okay.
And there's a kind of orange, a citrus fruit, the orange, and that some of those are called a navel orange because they on the top of them it looks like they have a little navel, and so you have
Oh,
navel oranges. Okay, just a little detail there. Okay, just ignore that. So
So it's
what about this little bit? Yeah.
kind of whole in the orange.
Yeah, it's a sort of yeah. Look. It's often it can look like a human navel at the very top of the
Okay.
orange, where it grew from the tree, or the other way around, or where it grew away from the tree. Actually, but I think where it grows away from
Hmm.
the tree, the very bottom of it, where the flower would have been, I suppose. So there's a little bit in quotes here, and it says, "For if a man be placed flat on his back, with his hands and feet extended, and a pair of compasses centered at his navel," that navel again. So what's that bit there saying? So what does that mean? So
Uh,
what's a pair of compasses? What's that? A pair of compasses? You may know.
Air compasses. The
Hmm.
grammar is a little bit. I feel the grammar is a little
Hmm.
bit old here.
Yes, yes, well spotted. It is a bit sort of oldie worldy.
Uh,
That's it. And it is a quote. So I guess it's quoting perhaps something that Leonardo da Vinci wrote, or possibly even Vitruvius. I don't know who it is. I sort of do have half an idea, but
for
that's it.
if
It's a bit oldie worldy. That's it. But what is a pair of compasses? We still have this today, however oldie worldy it is.
pair of compasses. It's
Hmm.
not compass
Well, yeah, it's a compass. Yeah, I'll take that as half an answer. But what's a compass then? You've taken the S off the
compass.
end, effectively.
Compass is like
Yes.
you typically bring that to the mountain and
Ah,
that
yeah, okay.
show the direction.
And guides you. That's it. Yes. Oh, north
Yeah,
is that way, so we got to go this other way. That's it. Yes.
well, I think
But
it's kind
yeah.
of getting very old gadget because I mean it's still useful because
Hmm.
you know like a you can have that function in your smartphone or something, but
True.
that needs electricity. So, but
Okay.
compasses doesn't need any electricity, so it's kind of useful when you get lost at mountain or something.
Yes, a compass is. And this word, it comes from that device, but it is
Uh,
not talking about the compass you might take if you're going on a long journey. This is a different kind of compass. So let me just search that phrase there, and hopefully it'll show me a photograph or picture or something to
is it
illustrate. Ah,
maybe it's a different stuff. Ah, yeah. Okay, okay.
yes, that we
Gotcha,
just saw
gotcha.
half a second. Yeah, so there we, I think that, oh, it's so small, isn't it? Protractor. So when I was at school, we had protractors, I suppose compasses and compasses. So this
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
whole
yeah, yeah.
screen
Okay,
full of compasses.
I see.
S-
Okay.
Yeah, you got it. Hopefully it makes sense to everyone. This one in the middle, hopefully make it slightly larger, this one. So there's a point on one end, a sharp point, and a pencil at the other.
Hmm,
And then this is how the circle around that man was drawn with a pencil or some other
hmm.
device similar. So this is presumably this one here is actually quite small that you could hold in one hand. It's probably a child's compass, this one. So if we go back to that picture again with Vitruvian Man. So this is how that circle was drawn around the man here.
Hmm,
So one point was put, hopefully not into his navel, or just near his navel, I suspect. And that's how the circle was drawn. Okay, that's that. But that's a similar device, not exactly that one.
hmm,
So that's why it says, "For if a man be placed flat on his back," which is really what you see in that picture there. That's a man lying on the ground, effectively, you could say, looking up at us, and we're
hmm,
looking down at him as he lies on the ground. So, "For if a man be placed flat on his back," he wrote, this is what Vitruvius wrote, I think, "with his hands
hmm,
and feet extended," exactly that as that picture is,
hmm,
"and a
hmm,
pair of compasses." It says a pair. That's quite an old way of looking at it, I suppose. Most people to say would, "Oh, can I borrow your compass to make a circle?" That's what most people would say.
hmm,
But yes, a pair of compass. When it's a pair, in that sense, it's one leg there's sort of two legs together, I should say. You could say that's a pair of compasses placed, and the point, I guess, placed at his navel. The fingers and toes of his two hands and feet will touch the. And this was a tricky word, I think. So, so I just say it for you. So there's sort of like several syllables here. So there's sir is one syllable. I would say circum, one another syllable.
Circumference.
That's it. Yeah, circumference. That's it. You've got it. Yeah, circumference. So, and the meaning of the word, are you pretty reasonably okay with the meaning, do you think? Can you tell me what the meaning is?
Cir uh, Circumference. Like a making a circle or something.
Yeah, well, that's it, really. Yeah. So we go back to that drawing. So where is the circumference? What is the circumference on that drawing? It's on that drawing, basically. It's the clue. If I go down, you can see the whole of the
Cir-
circumference. Just about. Yeah, you can just see the whole of the circumference there. So
So does it simply mean a circle?
basically, it means the circle.
So it's
It's
like
sort
a
of, yeah. Hmm.
you see the circle uh outside of his body, basically.
It's the circle, yeah. It's another way of referring to this circle around the outside. That's it.
Uh-huh.
The circle sort of more refers to the edge, you might say, or the. Let's actually search it and see what the dictionary comes up with the slightly more precise meaning that I seem to be struggling with. Circumference. We're talking about like the edge of the circle, I suppose, isn't it? So, the circumference of a circle place, or round object is the distance. Yeah, I suppose you could say it's the distance. Yeah, the distance around the edge. So here they're saying the
Mm,
circumference of a circle is the length of that circle.
mm,
I don't,
mm, mm, mm.
okay, that's an uncountable noun. The second version of that word is the circumference of a circle, place, or round object is its edge. In other words, it's just the edge itself, you could say, or it is the length. It's either of those things, you could say. But you might also talk about I think we have the service. So, but the salmon cut into long strips and wrap it around the circumference of the bread. So bread isn't a perfect circle, but here they're still using the word circumference. So here it just sort of, in a sense, means something edge, the edge of something that's sort of roundish. So not
Mm,
necessarily a perfect circle. So the edge of something roundish, you could say, sort of round-like.
okay.
Um, So, so I think you have that word. They're pretty good there. I think there was another word thinking about it. So that was a tricky. It's a longish word, but it's tricky to get spot on. But I noticed up here there was this word here. Could you just try that word once again? That word there.
Ideal.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. You missed out the L when you said it. So I think you said idea. I think it came out as idea.
Ideal. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's it. So what's the meaning of ideal? Would you say? Any idea?
Ideal like a best.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So the clue is here, isn't it? So the ideal human form. So sort of like the perfect man, you might say, in a
Hmm.
sense, in some regard or other. That's it. That's good. That's good. Very good. Um, maybe that name again. So I think you're pretty good actually when you said it. So this is that a Roman guy from something like about 2,000 years ago.
Virtuvius.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Vitruvius. And again,
Vitruvius.
Vitruvius. Yeah, that's it. You've got it. That's it. That's it. And and you presumably will not see this word again or these two words again. And this seems to be the name of the piece of work or the writing, the book or the
Hmm.
scroll that Vitruvius wrote, where he talks about this man, lay a man flat on his back, put the compass at his navel. This seems to be the writing, the piece of work which refers to that
Yeah, the
story.
architectura.
Yes, yeah, I'm not sure if it's Latin or Italian. I would guess it's probably somewhere between the two, actually. the architecture, the architectura. I think that's "tura" on the
Textura.
end, I would say, but
Okay.
but I'm guessing. I'm guessing. So on architecture seems to be the if you translate it. Okay. So any more questions from you, Yoshi, or anyone else? Any other questions there?
Uh, so obviously the quote is a little bit sounds a little bit old,
The
but
quote sounds a little
why?
bit old.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit old, but like
Yeah, that's
why four is on top of the sentence?
for yeah.
Four, if
That,
but I
I,
feel like
mm,
four is not really needed here. Like
mm,
if a man be placed
mm,
flat on
mm,
his back,
mhm.
blah blah. That
Um,
already sounds good to me.
well, one thing to bear in mind is that this appears to be a translation
Uh,
of something that was written, I guess, not fourth, sorry, approximately 2,000 years ago. So yes, if someone else translated it, they may have not put the four in there. But but in English, say of about 200 years ago, that would sound pretty good, I would say.
mm,
But also we don't know what came before this sentence. Presumably, this isn't the very first few words of the book or of the piece
yeah.
of writing. This is a quote, somewhere from the middle, and we don't quite know what came before it. So it might be that this is an explanation of something that went just before it, if that makes any sense.
Mm, mm,
But
mm.
this is a slightly oldie worldy way of writing, and an older way of writing. So, and I think this is quite acceptable. There's another old word down here, down the bottom here. So, we would never use
Yeah,
this.
they're
So
from yeah.
therefrom, yeah. So it is a little bit oldie worldy, and you spotted that very early on. Which is very good
I
actually.
probably only see they're from in the legal document or something.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, therefrom. Um, Although I haven't said it, they're from. Yeah, so comes from something, coming from
Yeah, yeah.
something. I'm not quite sure what they're from. This is an odd phrase, isn't it? Okay. Okay, so let me read this little bit here, and then we'll move on to the next bit below. Perhaps Yayoi can read the next bit below, if that's okay. If there's any more questions, do ask. Do ask. So let me read the bit in blue then, just to sort of link it all together. And again, this looks like another quote, or is it exactly the same other quote? I'm not quite sure now. So, and just as the human body yields a circular outline, so too a square figure may be may be found from it. For if we measure the distance, another four there, for if we measure the distance from the soles of the feet to the top of the head, and then apply that measure to the outstretched arms, the breadth will be found to be the same as the height, as in the case of plane surfaces which are perfectly square. So that's a slightly hard to understand description of how we come up with that circle and a square in this picture here. So if you could understand that, you're better than me. But again, once again, he says, for if we measure.
It basically mean just for just if, right? Or
Um,
there a little bit, additional nuance to it.
it's a sort of, in a way, it sort of reads like an explanation, an explanation of something. So
Uh,
if it says if, it sounds like a question, and if we do something,
mm,
maybe we
mm, mm.
don't do something. I think there's four different meanings to the. There's probably up to four different meanings to if, but they're all sort of vaguely familiar.
Mm,
When you
mm,
say for if, is more it changes the meaning of the if a little bit, doesn't it? It sort of makes it more into an explanation of something. If it's just
mm,
if on its own, it may be if you will, maybe you will, maybe you won't, sort of is the normal meaning of if, isn't it?
It's
But by putting a
kind of
for in it, you're changing the
because if,
meaning.
yeah,
Sorry,
because
sorry.
if. I think it's kind of because if
Yeah, sort
blah
of. You could
blah.
say, yeah, yeah. That would pretty much work similarly, I would say, yes. Because if we measure the distance, yes, it's sort of talking about what's gone before in a sense. It's explaining something that's gone before, I would say.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I haven't read that before, so I'm not quite sure. The only interesting word I noticed there, or tricky word, maybe was breadth. So it looks
Rest.
like bread, but a th on there. It's nothing to do with bread, of course, in one sense. Yeah. So
It's really hard to pronounce. Breast.
yeah, no, it is. It is. I wouldn't. Yeah. So,
Bread. Yeah, bread.
uh, yeah, you almost had it there. I would say. Yeah. So, but it is tricky. It doesn't get a great deal of use. This word, I would say. You might say, how wide is it? How wide is this
Yeah,
thing? That's the
yeah, yeah.
same or similar meaning. Breadth, breadth.
Breath. What breath?
Well, I'd say you're missing out the D often as not. So it's almost as if I suppose I am saying bread. I'm sort of
Bread.
stopping there for half a second,
Mr.
making it really,
Tony,
yes.
have a
Ah,
good one, everyone. Sorry, I've been, today I had a bad connection. I've dropped you a
yes.
line, sorry. See you,
Okay.
everyone.
Okay.
Sorry
Bye
for
bye,
my voice
Christina.
things.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye. Bye bye. Okay. Ah, at the very end, she had it. She sorted out her sound, but had to go.
Mm,
Never mind. Yeah. So breadth is one
breath.
word. There's a similar
Breaths.
one. So maybe I'm just trying. How more? They're probably. I suppose width is probably used
With.
slightly more, I would say. Yeah, so try again. So
Yeah,
width.
with this is it's just also impossible to me. Like
Oh, okay.
with
It's got the same sort of ending, isn't it? Yeah. Similar meaning, really, I would say. Yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
height
like
is in
I
one
always
direction.
try to like I always need to rephrase when I
Yes.
have to explain about how long
How wide
or
is
like
it? Yeah.
how wide something
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Just say how wide it is. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
other way around, is it? Yeah. Tell me how wide it is. Tell me the width. Width.
doing it
That's the. And again, width.
with
That's not too bad. That's not too bad. But the D is
it's
a
not
bit
like
quiet.
with
Yeah, yeah. Just trying to bring up the D a little bit. So yeah, that's a
with this
width.
with
I suppose that is one syllable. I would say width, width, and I'm very quickly putting the
with
TH on the
with.
end. Width, width,
So
width.
it's like you need
Width.
to move your tongue really quickly, like
Hmm.
immediately after
Yes.
you
Yes.
pronounce D. It's just so like
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Widthways, widthwise.
with
Oh
with
dear.
with 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 a
So let's listen to them. I'm sure they'll be better than me, actually. Let's listen to them.
width,
with
So
with
if you listen, the D is almost if the D isn't there at all. Not at all, but it's not that loud, is it? Width,
with
width,
with
width,
and again width,
width,
with
width.
with.
Hmm.
It's
No,
just like it does the
your
same as
D's a bit
with
your D's a bit too
with.
quiet, I would say. But it's just about there. But okay, okay. So let's move on. Let's move on. So it's one of those. I would say there's a whole series of English words which is almost as if it takes like about 10 years for children to learn. So if I go to a primary school and listen to children say some of these words, along with perhaps with this classic word here, these are W words. Say that word, world, world. A lot of these words are quite difficult for children, and then it's only after they get to
Mm,
about sort of the teenage years that they sort of can say them sort of consistently, I would suggest. So don't be
world
too hard.
word. World is okay, I
Oh,
guess,
well,
to me.
well done. Some people find that very tricky. Okay, that's good, good. So I've read that little bit there, and so if you're still with us, do you fancy reading the little bit down the bottom where it says Leonardo da Vinci's drawing? And so we'll just finish off maybe, and then maybe if you've got time, Yoshi, you can read another one too, hopefully. Okay. Are you still with us, Yoi? Sorry,
Yes,
I've lost
I
you there.
am. Yeah, hang on a second.
There you go.
Yes.
So
Also from Leonardo da
that's
Vinci,
yeah, that's it.
drawing made centuries after
Hmm.
Vitruvius' musings
Hmm.
illustrates the manner in which man could indeed fit within those described shapes. But as ArtNet News recently reported, the famed polymath and Renaissance man may have stored away a third excuse me, away a third shape hidden within his drawing, one which was only recently being remarked upon.
That's good. I hold you a second there. So that's good. That's very good, actually. There's very little for me to say here, so I'm picking up
Thank
very
you.
small details. Um,
Hmm.
so maybe the drawing, I would say. So that's two. That's
Drawing,
two or three.
drawing. Mm,
On one occasion, you said it, that word,
mm,
and and there was a little
mhm.
bit in my head said, "Is this the
Mm.
word?" She was saying.
Oh,
So
drawing.
there's drawing.
Oh,
So
drawing,
yeah,
drawing. Okay, ah,
yeah,
sound. Yeah,
so I don't think there
that's a
really
good
is a
question.
word drawing, but yeah.
Because at my work,
Mm.
I needed to call a girl's name,
Oh, okay.
um, which is Dorothy. I
Oh,
can't say
Dorothy.
really, yeah, Dorothy.
Yeah.
So it's a D R sound is probably my weak point. So
Mm.
drawing or
Yes.
Dorothy, Dorothy. My son actually pointed out. You
Mm.
should say Dorothy, Dorothy. Your R
Dora.
sound has disappeared. He pointed out.
Yes, it
So
is tricky.
yes,
Yes. Yeah.
drawing and
Draw.
Dorothy, I think.
I would say that
Mm,
is a tricky sound to do. Yeah, the D
it
and the R
is.
together. It is tricky.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah, it's tricky. It
So
isn't easy. Dorothy.
drawing,
Yeah. Roaring.
drawing,
Roar. Yeah.
drawing. Mm,
Maybe we'll just say it a few times. If we miss out the ing on the end, because that's just making it a little bit harder, I think, isn't it?
drawing,
So
drawing. Mm.
maybe drawn. Do we say just
Drawn,
draw, maybe? Say just draw, word
draw,
draw. So this is
draw.
draw. If you have a pencil and you make a little
Oh,
mark on a paper, draw.
draw,
So in the past tense, you can say it's been drawn. So
drawn,
drawn,
drawn, draw,
draw,
drawn,
draw.
draw,
Maybe slow it down a little bit.
drawn.
Maybe hold on. Maybe just slow it down. So say make a D sound, duh, and then make a R sound. So no, this is the way to do it, I would suggest. So
Oh,
if you
thank
try to
you.
sort of say if you try to make a word fully formed without breaking it down, it can be just very difficult. And I think it takes quite a skill just to jump straight in to make a
Mm.
sound fully formed and just to break it down into initial little sounds like this is the way to do it. I would suggest so. D r or d r or
The roll,
draw d r
draw,
Oh, that's that.
draw.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That one you just did then, that was pretty good. That's good.
Oh, really?
Draw, but the one
I'm
you did
so
after it wasn't
happy.
so good. But the one you did before was so draw.
The roll,
Not so good that one.
draw.
Ah, that was better. but do it slowly.
do,
Duh, ruh,
da,
or,
da,
duh, ruh,
row,
or, and then bring it together
da,
slowly. Duh,
row,
ruh, or, duh, ruh, or, duh, ruh, or, duh, ruh,
da, row,
draw,
da, row,
draw.
do, row, do, row,
And you're
da,
losing it a little
row.
bit. You're losing it a little bit there. You're going a little bit on the too fast side, I would say. So maybe say make this the D, the
Oh,
duh, and the R sound with
da,
those. Hold on, with those gaps. Maybe say that 10 times before you start to really pick up the speed, because you've. It's a little. Have you ever learned how to play a piano or any sort of musical instrument? You have to play a musical piece many times slowly before you can pick up the speed and to play it at a normal speed. If you want to learn the piano or a piece of music, you play it numerous times, perhaps even 100
yes,
times.
I have.
Yeah, so that, you've got to do the
Mm.
same thing with English with these sounds. So how many
Mm.
times would you do it? I don't know. At least 10, I would suggest, if you're good at the piano or whatever the instrument is. But even if
Not
here,
really. Mm.
exactly. So even here, you would do it even more than that. Even more than that. But even then, you'd have to go back to the beginning. Oh, let's go back to the beginning, but slowly again. So
Mm.
to bear that in mind, write this down perhaps as a reminder. In an hour's time, come back to this and say those sounds slowly together. Duh, ruh, or
Da,
duh.
ra,
That's it.
da,
That's it.
ra.
And then bring it together
I'm copying you
slowly, as you would if you're learning a
slowly.
piece of music. That's it. I think you've got it. I think you will get it. I'm
Mm.
sure you will get it. But it is difficult.
Drawing, drawing, drawing.
Okay, so
Mm.
anything else that you'd like to ask about? There's a little bit that you read out. It's only a very small chunk, wasn't it, here?
Mm. The sentences are pretty straightforward.
Okay, let me read
So
it to you, then I'll
I,
ask you a couple of
yes,
questions
please.
then. So Leonardo da Vinci's drawing, made centuries after Vitruvius's musings, illustrates the manner in which man could indeed fit within those described shapes. But as ArtNet News recently reported, the famed polymath and Renaissance man may have stowed away a third shape hidden within his drawing, one which was only recently been remarked upon. I think I missed out a word there, so I went back to that one. So it's saying this chap, who sometimes he's just referred to as Leonardo, and everyone knows who you're talking about if you just say Leonardo, and they don't mean
Mm.
Leonardo DiCaprio, the Hollywood actor, but they might do, of course. But most people, I think a lot of people would say Leonardo da Vinci. So his drawing of this idea that Vitruvius had, where you might lay a man on his back and draw that circle and the square around him. So that's musings again. That's his ideas. Um, and then it says ArtNet News seems to have another. Has recently reported something that they have discovered another shape may fit in there. But they talk about the famed polymath and Renaissance man. What does that little bit mean there? Any idea, Yayoi? So
um,
famed means well
famed
known.
is a
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
Now,
yes,
what do the other words mean then?
place. Polymath, place. I
Okay.
don't know. Or
Oh,
like
right.
or Renaissance. So
Hmm.
I'm just confused because
Okay.
so this means like basically Leonardo da Vinci,
Yeah.
but so I don't know why whoever has written this sentence put this one polymath.
Hmm. So
Is
whoever
it a
wrote this
place
sentence,
or? Mm.
Okay. No, these aren't places.
Oh, sorry. Is it a
So
era?
an era. Well, I would say the Renaissance is an era. It is an era,
Yes.
yes,
Yes, it
but it
is.
then puts the word Renaissance man. So really,
Mm.
this is a man from that era, you could say, or a typical man from that era, or the ideal man, even
Mm.
to use Yoshi's word, the ideal man. So just to go through it a little bit then. So
Mhm.
Leonardo da Vinci. So it's always got the E sound on the end. Leonardo da
Mm.
Vinci. Vinci. I think it said Vinci. So Vinci. Um, so these two words here describe Leonardo da Vinci. So this
Exactly.
word
As
describe
I.
Leonardo, and that word, that's a describe
Mhm.
Leonardo. That's it. So
Yes.
Leonardo was a
Exactly.
polymath and a
Yes.
Renaissance man. So the word polymath means someone who is very skilled, or perhaps even a genius, you might say, not perhaps a genius, but let's say very skilled in many
Oh.
different areas of study. So if you're a polymath, you may be good in biology or very good in biology and mathematics and physics and perhaps several scientific subjects. So you're very learned
Mm.
in many different subjects if you're a poly. So poly, I
Mm.
guess, means many in this sense. Poly means many, probably. And math probably comes from mathematics, I would guess, or the study
Oh,
of
like a
not
polygamy.
like
Poly.
polygamy. Well,
Polygamy.
polygamy means
What
marry
happened?
many, doesn't it?
Married many.
Married many. Yeah.
Not
So
one person.
yeah, but here it is many intelligent areas of
Mm.
knowledge, I suppose. And the
Mhm.
Renaissance period was a period of time when new discoveries and new understandings were becoming thick and fast. So many people were studying lots of different things in the Renaissance period, and science and art and writing, I think, and probably poetry, paintings
Mm. I see. Mm.
were very prolific. Lots of art, etc., were being produced at that time. That's
Mhm.
it. But so really, polymath and Renaissance man, they're sort of the same ideas, really. To be a
Mm.
polymath, you could say you are a Renaissance man if you're a polymath. You could sort of say that pretty much.
Mm.
So the same idea in there. So what does the word stowed mean? Well, in particular, I suppose these two words often go together. So stowed away. What does that mean? Stowed away.
As far as I remembered,
Mm.
this word stowed is used on the airplane a lot.
That's it. Yes.
So
Yeah,
put
that's it. Yeah,
something like a put something away
that's
or
it. Yes,
stash
that's it.
something away.
Yeah, that's the idea, stowed away. It's
Yeah.
um, exactly as you were saying. But in this case, they might be in earlier
Hide.
times it would be a ship. The other version might be a
Mm.
ship. So there is the idea of
Oh,
hide, a little bit of the
yes.
art. If you stow something away, it does sound like it's being hidden in a sense. There's a little bit of an idea
Mm.
of that. But
Mhm.
often with a ship or a plane, you do need to put it away out of
Mm.
the way so that it's
Mm.
safely stored. So you
Mhm.
can't fall on anyone, doesn't get lost, that sort of thing too.
Oh, that's the
But you're
key
right.
word.
But in this, that's right.
Hide secretly. So
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
safely put
Yes.
something away in a place, in a safe place.
Yeah, there is that idea
Mm.
in there, but there is also this
Mm,
idea of it
mm,
being hidden so that it can't be
mm,
seen.
mm,
If you
mm,
stow
mm,
something
mm,
away,
mm,
it can't be seen, and
mm,
some people may not know it's there. And yeah,
mm, mm,
and that's what they're saying here. So if you go back to that
mm,
picture that we saw at the beginning, so we can easily see the circle and we can easily see the square. They're saying there's
mm,
a third shape here that we isn't quite so obvious. It's sort of hidden somehow. And that's what the
mm.
dentist noticed. But it's not
Dentist.
visibly. If you remember, this thing is called a British dentist noticed something in this drawing. I
Ah,
can't remember the exact
right.
title, but
Right. Exactly. Yeah,
so he
exactly.
saw the two shapes, which are clearly obvious, but there's a third shape, which says there, stowed away a
Mm,
third shape hidden within the drawing. A third shape. Okay, so
mm.
maybe I'll just read on to maybe no, I won't read on. But Yoshi, is it okay if you read the next bit if you're still with us? Oh, so this must be the name of the dentist, I guess. So
Ah,
Um,
if you got time.
Dr.
Mm.
Which one? Sorry.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Dr. Rory. Rory, that's it.
Dr. Rory Sweeney.
Hmm.
Okay, so I gotta read the whole art paragraph, right?
That's, oh yes, if you can.
Okay, sorry. I was a little bit carried away, sorry. Uh, Dr. Rory Sweeney, the aforementioned dentist, published his assessment in the Journal of Mathematics and Arts that Leonardo's famed drawing incorporates geometric principles that anticipate modern understanding of optimal biological architecture by way of third shape located between the man's legs and equilateral triangle. According to Sweeney, ArtNet News wrote, this triangle corresponds to Bonewell's triangle, formed by the contact point of the mandibular central incisors,
Mhm.
incisor, I don't know,
Mm.
and the right and left mandibular condyles.
Yes, you got some medical. These are sort of medical words, aren't they? So yeah, that is tricky. That is tricky. You actually did very, very well. Yeah, mandibular. Yeah, that's a very unusual word. So well done. And yes, you had a couple of goes of that one. So incisor, I think you said, but it's
And
actually you
Caesar.
did. And at the end, you said incisor. Most people say or incisors, plural. That's it, incisors. Do you want to say that
Incisor.
again? So that's it, incisor. You've got it. Yeah.
Incisors.
Yeah, that's very good. Some very tricky words there. Um, and I would say I've not come across this word apart from this article. It's the only place I've seen that word actually. Um, and again, another sort of medical description here, I would say. Yeah,
Condyles.
it's not really les. So, oh, I forget myself now how to pronounce it. If I ever knew how to pronounce it, condyles, is it?
Condyles. Okay.
I think that's how it is. Is it even in the dictionary? I don't know. Let's take the S off. Condyle. I think it's condyle, isn't it? Oh, it is. It's not that. They're saying it's quite a frequent word. I've never heard. So the rounded projection on the articulating end of a bone, such as the ball joint of a ball and socket joint. So it's that the rounded end part of any bone in your body, really. Or I
Oh,
think we're talking about the teeth in particular. So
Condyle.
condyle. Yeah, yeah,
condyl.
condyle.
Condyle.
Yeah, so yeah, condyle or condyle. I say either of those ones. Yeah, so there's a couple of ways of saying it, I guess. Condyle, condyle. That's it.
Oh,
Okay.
it's a tricky word. I never like
Yes.
I just looked at the English Japanese dictionary
Oh, okay. Oh,
and I
yes.
don't even know the Japanese word as well. So that's
I know the English word, not the Japanese
yeah,
word. It's, so if you're into anatomy, so anatomy is the study of the human body,
right.
that would be that would be what you would know. So obviously this chap here, you could say is the new human body. Well, that's one of the things. That's another one of the areas that Leonardo da Vinci studied. He was very good on anatomy, which is who knows about anatomy nowadays? Very few people, but he did. So okay, so good. I'm very impressed with your pronunciation. It's very good. Some of the other tricky words maybe were
Equi
so yeah.
equilateral
Yes.
triangle.
That's it. You've got it. You've got it. So just to speed it up slightly. So an equilateral triangle. An equilateral.
Equilateral equilateral triangle.
Spot on. You can't improve on that. Spot on. Ah, but what is it? What is an equilateral triangle? So this is geometry now.
Equilateral.
So it's a
Uh,
particular kind of triangle.
yeah, obviously, yes. Um, equi
So this,
equilateral. I heard the word lateral somewhere else,
it's probably more
but
the equal bit, really. It's more the equal part.
I see. Okay,
So explain it then.
the the image explains
Yes.
it's math.
Ah, but use your English. I'm testing your English now. So this is partly sort of English conversation in a way, isn't it? So try to explain it in English if you can.
It's the I don't know how to explain English actually. It's
Ah, so
like
an
it's a
equilateral
triangle.
triangle. Yeah, go on. An equilateral
It's a
triangle is a triangle that
triangle, but
is, yeah.
that each
Yeah, yeah.
how do you call that? Like each edge, not really edge.
Side, each side.
Side of the triangle is
Mm,
same, has the same
yes.
angle.
Yes, yeah. You could have the same angle in the bottom corner, you could say. That's it. So each corner is the same angle as all the other corners. That makes it an
Okay.
equilateral triangle. And it also means if it has equal angles in these corners, it also means that each of the sides of the three sides of the triangle are the same length.
Mm.
So everything about it is equal. So, so that's why it's got the word equal in the name. Sort
Okay.
of equal, isn't it? Not exactly equal, but yeah. That's it. That was very good. Well done. Very good. So, but what it was saying was, is this the quote? By way of a third shape. This is the third shape, not the circle, not the round, not the square, but it's a triangle, and it's between the man's legs. That's a bit of a
Third
surprise, isn't
shape.
it? So if we go back again. Well, no, let's read this a little bit further because we don't have enough information here, do we? First of all, let me read the whole thing back to you, and maybe it will remind me of any little details.
Mm,
So there's another interesting word there. So this is a little bit oldie worldy, this word is, I would say. It doesn't
yeah.
get a great deal of use, but do you know what it means? You feel you understand? Could you explain that
I
word?
think it's something
Hmm.
the topic which was mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that's it. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The
It
thing
kind
that we
of
mentioned before.
yeah, putting everything like putting the notion together in
Yes,
one
that's
word.
right. Yeah. It's a reminding you. Remember that thing we talked about a little while ago? Bring it to mind now, and this is what we're talking about. That's it. You've got it. You've got
Mm,
this. So, so the afore bit is a bit like saying before, in a sense. The before mentioned dentist, you could say. It wouldn't, it's rather bad English, but but aforementions perfectly fits in there. But it is, I haven't heard that word in a long time, I would say. And you would never say it in everyday speech. I don't think you would say it in everyday speech.
yeah.
You might say it in sort of just a formal language or written something literally like this, I guess. That's it. um, Aforementioned. Or maybe I was going to read it. So there's that word there. That's a slightly tricky word. Do you fancy just saying those three words there? So principles there's three words.
Principles that anticipate.
Yeah, spot on. That's it. That's it. Principles that anticipate. That's it. Anticipate. You've got it. That's it. Um, and maybe those three words there. They're slightly tricky ones, perhaps.
Optimal biological architecture.
Spot on. Yeah, you can't improve on that. That's very good. Um, and and those three too.
Incorporates geometric principles.
Okay, it's pretty good. Yeah, incorporates. Um, I would say British people would say incorporates, incorporates,
Incorporates.
incorporates. So that's sort of. Trying to think. I think the Americans may say it your way. Yeah. So I can't really criticize. It's not really a criticism. It's listing out another way of pronouncing it, I guess.
I have no
It's
idea.
interesting. There's definitely as you said before, definitely an American um, pronunciation of
To
some of the words. Okay, so let me read the whole
uh
thing again. That's what I was going to, wasn't it? Let me read the whole thing
yeah,
again.
please. Yeah.
So Dr. Rory McSweeney, the aforementioned dentist, published his assessment in the Journal of Mathematics and Arts that Leonardo's famed drawing incorporates geometric principles that anticipate modern understanding of optimal biological architecture by way of a third shape located between the man's legs, an equilateral triangle. According to Sweeney, ArtNet News wrote, this triangle corresponds to Bonwill's triangle, formed by the contact points of the mandibular central incisors and the right and left mandibular condyles.
I'm not sure I'm fully understanding the whole thing here.
No, I don't think I understand it either. But if we scroll down, I have an idea. Well, when it says mandibular, that's basically talking about mandibles, and the mandibles are are your mouth, effectively your jawbone, you could say. The
Mm,
mandibles are your jawbone, and they're saying the rounded ends of your mandibles. So let's scroll on. This is quite complicated, isn't it? Hopefully, there's a trick. Oh, I was hoping there was going to be a drawing where they put in this bigger triangle. Oh, that doesn't quite work.
mm. Mandibular. No, oh,
Let me just scroll to the bottom. I'm sure we've missed something out here. How can that be right? Oh, so it's a triangle. Oh, this person here says it's a triangle in an illustration that ever since its creation has been known. Because people have eyes and central nervous systems to include a square and a circle. If nobody thought to mention it in any depth any sooner, the only reason is that it wasn't worth mentioning. It's not symbolic of it's not symbolic of any expert knowledge of the teeth, with the great Renaissance anatomist Vesalius, not heard of him, himself spent only 2 pages describing. It is not an elevation drawing of the Great Pyramid of Giza as planned by an ancient alien architect. It's just a triangle. Anyone you manage to convince with articles on this level of psychotypal tendencies that you that you that you would do well not to encourage. So this person here is criticizing it and thinking it's a bit ridiculous.
mm.
And I think there is a certain truth in that. I thought they were going to say that there is a triangle. If I go back to the drawing, there's a triangle in here, perhaps where I'm drawing now. So between there up to the top of his head, down to there. That's what I thought they were going to say.
From
But
his head to
well, maybe where
uh
the circle and the square intersect down here.
okay,
I don't know. So that distance across there seems roughly to point out more to his middle of his chest, I think, really. Oh, what do I know? We haven't read the whole article because we haven't. I've sort of rushed it a little bit because we've sort of run out of time, haven't we? So you'll have to read the article on your own, I guess, to understand it properly.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Although if you're dedicated, we could read it now. But then again, if you have to go, it's okay to shoot off and finish off the rest of your meal or whatever you were doing. I find it hard to believe that, that Vitruvius or Leonardo da Vinci were talking about a triangle in the roof of a man's mandibular and whatever it was, condyles.
Mm.
I don't think it's anything to do with that. I think that's ridiculous. Well, not ridiculous, but what do I know? Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's maybe
Yes.
I
Okay.
don't know. But I think it's interesting perspective of you know how say investigating the old uh
Drawings. Yes.
drawings. I guess
Drawings. Yeah.
it's more like a scientific and like a mathematical way of I don't know understanding the art. I guess I'm not sure.
Hmm. Just to go back to that drawing again, I don't think this. I don't think this was drawn for to make a piece of art. I don't think when Leonardo da Vinci made this
Yeah,
drawing, he
yeah,
was making, oh,
yeah,
let's make a piece of art. I think that Leonardo da Vinci was thinking about how men work, how men and women work, how humans work,
yeah. It's like
when, yeah.
yeah. As
Mm,
I think you know it's mentioned in the article, but I think it's a drawing of ideal form of human body, I
mm,
guess.
mm.
So
So,
yeah, it's not really art, but
mm.
it's more like an
Anatomy, exactly.
anatomy
That's it. What you
drawing.
said. Yes. Uh, Yeah, that's it. Um, uh, I think it's true to say, I think I'm correct in saying that Leonardo da Vinci was so serious about his drawings and paintings that he wanted to get them so correct, so exactly how to describe so exactly men and women so exactly that he'd studied anatomy so that he could draw people and paint people most correctly. He didn't just sort of, oh, let's just draw this. He studied anatomy so that he could draw better. Does that make sense? And this
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
part of him studying what man looks like.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
think I'm
yeah,
writing. Did he even cut people's arms open, or maybe he didn't cut them open, but he certainly looked at um, people's arms when they were cut open, and I think he then drew them so he could understand how the muscles worked and why. If you look at this chap's arms, really the muscles are incredibly accurate. I think all the bulges in just the right places. To my mind, this is anatomically very correct, or most correct,
mm,
perhaps you would say. I can see the calf muscle just there. The leg is slightly sideways here, so the calf muscle sticks out quite well. I see this muscle here just above the knee. It's incredibly accurate, I think.
yeah. I think the very first anatomy art in Japan was based on
Oh
the
yeah.
book from Dutch.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, so um,
Anatomical art
but
sort of thing. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Anatomical.
also
Interesting.
Leonardo. But where is he from? He's
It was Italian. Leonardo da
Italian. Okay,
Vinci was
okay,
Italian
okay.
from Italy. Hmm.
Yeah, kind of closer to Dutch. I mean, the
Well,
origin of
yes.
yeah, doctor or like an
Hmm.
anatomy is probably from Europe. So yeah, I
Hmm.
think that the book from Dutch came from
The
Dutch,
Dutch book. Hmm.
yeah, to Japan. So it's kind of
That's
interesting
interesting.
to me.
Yeah. Well, the Dutch were very great traders in the Far East. They did lots of trading.
Uh,
Definitely traded with the Chinese. And um, didn't they have the Spice Islands out there? I think they had some islands out there, Spice Islands. They would go there, picking up spices, and sell them back in Europe. Great trading nation. Okay, so let's call it a day there. So I haven't heard from you, Yuri. So do you have anything to add before we finish? Any thought comments?
Not really, but
No.
I I just I just I
Hmm.
can actually admire this dentist who has
Mm.
just happened to discover another shape. What do you call it? Like a
Well,
bi. Oh,
Tr
no.
Triangle, you mean? The triangle?
Triangle.
Yeah.
Triangle
Hmm.
in the picture drawing.
Drawing, yes.
Drawing. Drawing.
Yeah. Drawing. Yeah, I
Drawing.
think I can see an equilateral triangle.
Or
I can de
equilateral triangle.
one where all three
Mm.
sides are the same length. I mean, there probably is one there, but it's hard to pick it out exactly. There's
Mm.
one that looks almost equilateral, that one there. But the bigger ones
Mm.
down here, it's hard to pick out which one's the equilateral triangle, if this is meant to be equilateral. I don't think it is it? This
Mm.
is just a triangle, I think, isn't it? I,
I'm not sure. I
well,
haven't really
we haven't read the whole
checked the
article. We haven't read the,
degrees.
yeah.
Yes.
So if we read the whole article, we
Of
might
the
understand it
angle.
slightly better. But perfect arches, yeah. Okay, so let's call it a day there. Let's finish
Mm.
there. So we'll finish on the
Thank
drawing.
you.
So I hope that was useful to some degree.
Yeah, it's a good
Mm.
learning or like of history or maybe math or science. I don't know.
Mm,
Something in between.
yes. And this drawing, look, this photograph of this particular drawing by Leonardo da Vinci, I would say if this was going to be sold, it would probably sell for millions. In fact, it might in fact be impossible to give a value to it. In other words, it's beyond value. It's worth so
Mm.
much you probably can't sell it. Does that make
Mm.
any sense? It's so highly prized,
Yeah.
multi-millions if it
Yes,
was sold.
exactly.
But I don't know how much, but and I'm looking at this again. I'm pretty sure this is it. This is all written backwards. This is backwards writing. I'm fairly sure it is to sort of hide its meaning,
Mm.
so it isn't obvious what it means. But so put a mirror to it, and you could probably read it. So this would probably be called mirror writing. So let's just quickly search that, mate. If I just
Mm.
say Leonardo, let's type in the name Leonardo. Yeah, Leonardo. I just then search mirror.
Mm.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Let's come up. Mirror. I can't spell. Mirror writing. I've just tapped in Leonardo mirror writing. This is what it comes up with saying. Ah, yeah. So Leonardo da Vinci used mirror writing, a right to the left script, lightly because he was left-handed. I didn't know that. And it prevented smudging his ink. Oh, while it may
Ah.
have also served to keep his notes private, but most people could quickly work out with backwards, I'd have thought. He primarily used
Ah.
standard writing for messages intended for others, suggested it was not purely a secret code. Ah, that's interesting. So not purely a secret code, but it also stopped him smudging his writing because the ink would, back in those days, stayed wet for quite a long time. That's interesting.
Mm.
But
Mm.
I think it's also it's a good, anything that stretches your brain and your ability, it's kind of useful to have. It changes how you see things. It works your brain in a way you haven't worked it before, and it may give you another skill or improve another skill that you already have or want to acquire. Does that make sense? So we're just talking about
Yes, I
playing the
think.
piano.
Mhm.
To play the piano badly is actually quite hard in a sense. In a sense, one sense, anyone could play the piano badly, but to play it in such a way that, say, you're just a little bit off key all the time, that's very difficult. To consistently play exactly one note off key, that's exceptionally hard, I would suggest. Well, very hard, not exceptionally hard. So that's a
Mm.
ll beyond playing the piano. I'm not saying that's exactly the same thing, but there's a similarity here. Writing backwards is a interesting thing to do.
Mm. Yeah, I
Could you
think
write
in my
Chinese? Could you write in Japanese, I should say, backwards? Could you do that now? Could you write your characters backwards, as if you could read them in a mirror? That'd be very hard to do, wouldn't it? Or perhaps you can do it.
I actually, this kind of mirror, what do you call it? Mirror writing
Yeah, mirror writing.
is, is, you know, what I have, what I
Mm.
have done as a child, like since I was a child.
Ah,
Like,
so you
when I was a
can do
child,
it.
I did, no,
Mm,
no, when I was a child, I did
mm,
it for
mm,
some reason. Maybe the way
mm,
children may think
mm, mm.
is quite different
Yes,
from the
definitely.
way
Yes.
we do
Yeah.
adults. So when I heard of this, when I have just heard of this mirror writing now from you,
Mm, mm. It
sounds
reminded you. Mm.
his brain is very what do you call it? Flexible, I think.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
Even though he
childish.
was
I thought you were going to say childish.
no, it's not. It's quite opposite.
Open to
I
new
mean,
ways of doing
open.
things. Yes.
Yes. I think he might think things out of what do you call it? Out of square, like out of the box, or
Out of the
like
box. Yes. That's a good way of putting it. Yes. Yes.
pretty innovative.
Mm.
And he's pretty genius, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Most people would describe him as a genius. Yes, I would say. Yeah.
because not many people would like to think, um, like if we have the knowledge, if we have had the knowledge of
Knowledge. Mm.
what we need to do already, knowledge. So what we
Mm.
do,
Mm.
of what we need to do, or what we can do with ease, we we just want to follow the conventional way rather than um,
Mm. Mm.
you know, coming up with new ways. So, but he seems to be like one of these who um wouldn't mind thinking or what do you call it,
Mm.
like a contemplating,
Mm.
um, to break or like not break, but kind of messing up. He might not
Mm.
mind
Yes, no,
messing
that's
up
a good way of
things.
putting it too. Sometimes breaking
Thank you.
something can be very helpful.
Yes,
It can help you understand how something works if you break
thank
it and
you.
then have to fix it. So yeah, that's a
Yes,
good way of
fix it.
looking at it.
Yeah,
That's a good way of looking at
yeah. Breaking, fixing.
it. Yes. But one other detail,
Uh,
so Leonardo da Vinci is regarded as a genius, but I think also
mm,
people didn't, he got into a lot of trouble. He seemed to get into a certain amount of trouble, and I think he was commissioned to make certain paintings, and it took him a very long
mm,
time to do the piece of work that he was asked to do. It was very
mm.
slow, perhaps because he was trying to achieve a level of perfection which was just too difficult, maybe. So
Oh.
maybe he was a perfectionist too. But then again, I don't know. I mean,
Mm,
so it says here, so Leonardo da Vinci is considered a genius for his diverse skills as a Renaissance polymath, is using those words again, excelling in
mm,
painting, sculpting, architecture, invention, and scientific fields like anatomy, engineering, and optics. Engineering. So
mm.
he did a drawing, and it's regarded as the world's first helicopter. This is 500 years ago,
Wow.
but it looks a little unusual. I don't know if it would actually
Oh.
work. Perhaps it would. So yeah.
Mm,
So let's quickly
mm.
look at the Wikipedia entry for Leonardo da Vinci. I keep wanting to say Leonardo DiCaprio. um, perhaps there'll be a drawing of his. So he's
Where
very
is he
famous.
from? Italy or?
Yes, he was Italian. Yes.
Oh.
So when you say where he was from, it sounds a little strange when you say that because where he's from is in his name. When it says Leonardo da Vinci, the Vinci part is where he's from. So that's a town somewhere in Italy.
Oh.
The da means of. So Leonardo of
Ah.
Vinci. So
Okay.
so so some of his paintings. So he's most famous for his Mona Lisa, and it must be here
Mm,
somewhere. So if you say Mona Lisa, pretty much every European will know who the artist was. Pretty much everyone. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing this for now. I forget when I'm looking at this. It's interesting that a lot of his paintings are here. Now, I don't know a lot of these paintings. Oh, there's that one there. That's famous.
Oh, I have seen this, the
Mm.
Last Supper.
Yes, that's
I
it. Yeah.
think in a textbook,
In a textbook.
in a textbook at school.
Mm. So,
Um,
so where do you think this is? This painting? Where is it now? Any idea where it is?
where is it now? You mean in this picture where people
So,
gathered? You mean
so I've highlighted a word, and that word
reflect?
is basically saying where the picture is now housed, where it now lives. I think. I think
Oh,
it says that.
okay. Where is it now? Okay, yeah.
So it's there. Okay, do you recognize
Mm.
that word? So let me say it for you. So let me read that paragraph. So Leonardo's most famous painting of the 1490s is The Last Supper, most famous painting, commissioned for the refractory of the convent of Santa Maria della Grazie, Milan. I tried to put a little bit of an Italian accent there, but it was terrible. It represents the last meal, or supper, I think you said supper, shared by Jesus with his disciples before his capture and death, and shows the moment was when Jesus has just said, "One of you will betray me," and the consternation that his statement caused. Okay, so it's still in Italy somewhere, I think you were saying. Okay. He wasn't saying quite what I was expecting it to say, but never mind. Well, let's call it a day there. We've got to end at some point. Whenever you're in these classes, you can leave at any point. You don't have to stay, especially if you're bored or something. So let's call it a day there. So thanks very much for coming, guys, and goodbye.
Thank you.
And see you next time if you can make it,
Thank
hopefully.
you, Tony. Thank you,
You too,
Yoshi. Yep.
Okay.
Tony.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a
Bye-bye.
good day. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.